days after the funeral. The house still smelled like flowers and sorrow. Tanya moved quietly through their home, her hands brushing over the books he once loved, the cushions he once sat on, the teacup that still bore a faded lipstick print from a happier time. The silence was unbearable. She entered his library, his sanctuary, and was hit with a scent of old pages and aftershave. Dust motes danced in shafts of sunlight. She had come to clean, to find peace and order, but instead, she found a letter on his worn leather chair. It was folded carefully, trembling with the weight of unspoken things. It read only 3 words, to my wife. My dearest Tanya, if you're reading this, then my breath has finally slipped between the cracks of time. I am no longer in this world, but my words remain woven into paper, etched with love and pain. My hand shook as I wrote this, not from sickness, but from the weight of what I have carried in silence. I want to remember us before everything changed. I want to remember you in white, standing under the acacia tree with petals in your hair and joy in your eyes. You were more than beautiful. You were my promise of forever. That day, I whispered vows that came from the marrow of my bones. Till death do us part was not a ritual. I meant every syllable with the trembling fire of my soul. But I left. Duty called. War, that cruel thief of time, came to take me from your arms. You clung to me, your tears soaking through my uniform as you said, "Please, don't go." But I did. I told you I would return. And I did. But not as the man who left you whole. The war took my legs, but it took more than that. It took my strength, my laughter, my dignity. It took the man who danced with you in the kitchen, who chased you barefoot across the sand at Diani Beach, who lifted you into the air like the weight of the world could never touch us. I came back in pieces, and I knew, somewhere deep inside, that I would never be the same. And yet you stayed. You washed me with hands that trembled behind strength. You learned how to lift me without showing how it broke your back. You spoon-fed me on days when I could not move. You wiped my tears pretending they were yours. You gave me love, even when I could not give it back in the way you deserved. But the silence between us began to grow, not from lack of love, but from the shadows we could no longer outrun. I began to notice. I began to feel it. The way your eyes softened when Omari greeted you. The way you smiled at him, not just politely, but deeply. The way you lingered in conversation. The way your laughter rose around him, like sunlight on a cold morning. It was the same laughter that once belonged to me. And I, trapped in this chair, watched it all. At first, I told myself stories. That it was nothing. That you were just being kind. But lies have a bitter aftertaste, and soon, even I couldn't swallow them. I saw the way you avoided my eyes afterward. The way you sat quietly beside me, but looked out the window. The way your hands stopped reaching for mine at night. And each time it happened, something inside me folded, collapsed. I began to die long before my final breath, aching, not from disease, but from heartbreak. Do you know what it's like to watch the love of your life fall for someone else and still be unable to walk away? I envied him, not for his youth or his strength, but for the way he could stand beside you, the way you didn't flinch when he touched your shoulder. I began to hate myself. Not you, never you. You were still my angel. But I hated this prison of a body, this tomb I lived in while still breathing. I longed, Tanya, oh, how I longed, to walk again, to surprise you with flowers, to carry you to bed when you fell asleep on the couch, to run after you laughing on the shoreline, pretending I could catch you. I longed to be the man who made you blush again, but all I could do was watch. I want you to know I never stopped loving you, even when it hurt, even when your eyes searched for something more than I could give, even when my silence became my shield. This letter is not a curse. It is not blame. It is love in its rawest, most painful form. I give you my blessing. Aching, you deserve joy. You deserve warmth. If you find an Omari, do not punish yourself with guilt. Just remember me kindly. Remember the man who once lifted you under the mango trees, who whispered stories into your skin, who held you as though the world outside did not exist. Sometimes, when the rains fall and the gutters sing. Think of me when you hear a song we once danced to. Close your eyes and let the memory hold you for a moment. Let me exist there, if only in your heart. You were my beginning and my end, my anchor in chaos, my reason to fight, and eventually my reason to let go. Thank you, my love, for every sacrifice, for every smile you forced, for staying, even when your soul began to drift. I am free now, and I want you to be too, forever in your shadow. Odieno. Tanya held the letter against her chest, as if by pressing it harder, she could feel his heartbeat one last time. Outside, Omari called her name again, but she did not answer. She walked past the garden, down to the old path they once walked. Her tears mixed with the red dust, and as the sky bled into twilight, she whispered his name into the wind, hoping he could answer. Thank you for watching.